Clark was no problem when he was growing up. He was very quiet, very lovely and sociable in a way. I had no concerns with disciplining him because he usually, all the time, he would listen and just follow my instructions. But being a nurse working on different shifts is a bit hard.
Yeah.
Like, I have to come on a day shift and I have to be out on the bus stop at 6:15 and I have to leave him, and sometimes I have to sneak out of the house because it was difficult for him to adjust that I won't be there most of the day. But otherwise we got through that. I remember one very important thing that I trained him when we just arrived was how to get out of the house in case of a fire. And back home we never do that really because there's always a full-time nanny watching us. But here sometimes when I'm at work, of course there's always a nanny, but if I'm around, most of the time I might be asleep.
Sure.
So I had to train him how to jump from the window. And it was tough. I had to teach him where to climb the steps, how to get the chair and open the window, and the sound of the siren if there's a fire alarm. I had to teach him that, and it was hard for me because, you know, it's something that you have to be concerned with safety.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like some of the things that you've done together as mother and son, but like with birthdays and so on. What
Not much really special, except always Clark has always been a part of my life. I encourage him to join prayer meetings, and we have done that for the last 6 or 7 years here. And I'm very proud that I'm a part of this prayer family, which with the leadership of Ted and Eileen Jordan and of course Father John. It has given us the strength, and this is my prayer family and my family too. Birthdays, nothing special except the first few years we had to always have at McDonald's or KFC because I don't really cook much. So we go, on his first birthday in New Zealand, we had to go to Valentine's and McDonald's for his birthday.
Sure.
Christmas is a different setting because mostly I'm at work. So we just spend a meal together. If I'm at work, I sometimes bring him, if the manager allows us to bring the child. But mostly we just keep it as simple. And a tradition that we always do on New Year's Day and Christmas Day, especially New Year's Day, we always start the rosary at 10 o'clock and finish by midnight, and then just a lighted candle, and all the other room is darkened, and just a lighted candle, and we pray the rosary, and we welcome the year with prayer, and of course with lots of hug. Not so much with cooking though, because part of my tradition back home is always a family gathering. All the family members, grandchildren, everyone's there. But here it's only Clark and me, and I would prefer to celebrate Christmas, especially on midnight and New Year's night with just the two of us. And throughout the day we can celebrate it elsewhere with friends.
Right.
But that's always one tradition we keep. Midnight Mass is a part of our life to celebrate, to thank the Lord for Christmas. And New Year, it will always be prayers, especially just few hours before midnight, to thank the Lord and to welcome the New Year. Not so much with preparation and eating food, because I'm not so much good at cooking. Yeah, but we prepare just simple ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you worked at Ellerslie, and then from there you went to...
I went to Ferguson Hospital then. Ferguson Hospital is worth working with, modern continuing care facility, but I had to look for an institution or a hospital where there is that atmosphere of Catholic values. So I work at St. Joseph's Home of Compassion, which I've always wanted to work since I came because I know of its reputation. At present, I celebrated my 6th year just last month with the Home of Compassion, St. Joseph at Silver Stream. And it's beautiful working there. Although I would have wanted to go back to acute care because acute care has always been my work, like working in the medical unit or sometimes in the ICU. I also used to work in the emergency room back in the Philippines too.
Right.
But being unable to drive a car within New Zealand is a bit difficult if you have to go into shift work. So I decided just working nearest to our home in Abrahat, and that's where St. Joseph of Compassion has been very convenient for me to work with. Yeah.
And you've just recently moved into a new place,
Yes,
Grace, in
yes,
Silverstream.
yes, Silverstream.
That
Yes.
you nice, you know, you feel comfortable there.
Yes,
and
I am. I would have wanted to move to a more healthy home, healthy in a way where you don't live in a unit where you are concerned with the noise of your neighbors. But at that time when we lived at McParland Street, it was just across or adjacent to St. Joseph's School where Clark was going to study.
Sure.
And it was more convenient for me because church is very near. The Pack and Save was just across the road. It was so convenient otherwise. But now that Clark has moved to Silverstream, St. Patrick's College, I found it was about time for us to move.
Sure.
Plus, of course, with the news that my cancer had spread to my bones, having to climb 20 or 30 steps in a staircase was not really very safe for me. Yes.
And thinking back, like, you know, you saying like the 2-year anniversary and so on.
Yes, yes.
What's that been like for you? Like since the time
Yes.
of the first diagnosis
Yes.
until now, can you just tell us a little bit about
yes.
that, Grace?
I was diagnosed with cancer in April 2004. I'll never forget that day, the 20th. I came to see my surgeon after having worked from a night shift, having worked straight 7 days in a row. And when the news was given to me, it was just a big shock, but I knew something was wrong. My struggle to survive, being a survivor of cancer, the Lord has given me strength with my prayer members, which is like a family to me. They have given me strength through prayers and through acts of kindness and compassion from other members in the community as well, besides my prayer family, like staff from my work, friends that I know at church. They have given me the strength to go on. It's not easy being diagnosed with cancer, and especially when you know what's going on, being a nurse myself. But it's amazing how God has given me the strength to go on. I told myself, whatever treatment that is available, I will take every treatment because I want to see my son grow. Yeah. It's tough though. Having to undergo chemotherapy for 8 months, having to lose your hair, it wasn't easy, being bald, and having to undergo surgery, which was mastectomy of my right breast, which entails removing of the whole breast.
Sure.
Having to wear a prosthesis is just for aesthetic purpose, and of course lately, just early part of this year, I had to undergo radiation as the cancer had spread to the other parts of my bone structure, which is the ribs, the femur, and then the right hip and the lower spine. At the moment, I'm not working, as the doctor wants me just to relax and take it easy, as it was a bit hard for me to cope with work at the same time, doing household work for Clark as a mother and as a caregiver for him as well. But it's amazing, God has given me so much strength, and I trust Him. I lift up all my plans for Him. I don't make big plans like I used to before, but I just take each day as it comes. Yeah. And accepting His will, that's the best gift that He has given me. And your will be done, Lord. That's all I can say. I never, in a way, blamed Him for what I've undergone, but I thank Him for giving me the strength.
And how do you think that sort of, like, if you were saying to other people, you know, who in similar situations, what is it that really just enables you to, in a sense, but I know I can recall somebody saying when you were in the doctor's, that the doctor was truly amazed, and I'd say inspired by your faith, by the way that you're dealing with this illness. What message would you give, say, like to Clark and to other people that, you know, that find themselves in this situation?
Well, the first thing that I would tell them would be to trust in the Lord for whatever plans He has for you. It's not a very easy decision to make for your life when you're diagnosed with cancer. Of course, it will entail a lot of difficulties like your health of course, your financial side. And
Sure.
of course, me being a single mother, you have to be concerned with looking after the child and the future of the child. What I would recommend would be trusting the Lord. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Offer each day to Him and just give up everything to Him, and everything will just come into place.
Yeah.
Not to lose hope, because there's always hope in Him, and have a strong faith in Him. That's the best. And encourage, be a role model. My friends at work did say to me that I was a blessing at the Home of Compassion, because although I was very sick, it had inspired the staff that we joined together to help one another, because I was quite sick too.
Sure.
And it wasn't easy for me, because I know my work as an RN was to be like a team leader, to look after the sick ones. But now, this point in my life, I was the sick one. But my staff were encouraging. So I think they were so happy to see that I have given them the strength to be united as one big family at the working place. Yeah, one important session was they supported me when I started to have my hairs falling off. My boss was telling me, Grace, you have to tell the nurses what's going on, because they are there to help and support you. And I was telling her, no, I don't want them to have pity on me and feel sorry for me. But I said, when the right time comes, I'll pray for it and I will tell them. But I never had the courage to tell them, so I asked my manager to tell the staff how I was and how sick I was.
Sure.
As soon as I found my hair was coming off, it was so obvious that it was time. I think after a month that I was undergoing chemotherapy, it was about time to tell them, because my hair would be falling off from my uniform, and it was just so obvious. And I started wearing scarf to protect my hair.
Sure.
And we just hug each other and help each other, and I know they were so kind to me and helpful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Greg, did you ever sort of like, during it, sort of like doubt God or doubt?
No.
You've always just, in a sense, been.
I would like to say that I think of my illness being diagnosed with cancer, that it was a blessing. A blessing in a way where it gave me strength to improve my life. All these years, my life has always been my work, and sometimes I forget to look after myself and my son. An incident would be, a good example would be, I didn't really spend much time cooking, because after work I was just so tired. And to raise a son on my own, it was not very easy, and most of the time I tend to just buy takeaway food, and that wasn't really healthy, most of it. I never doubted Him, the Lord. I never blamed Him for what He has given me with the cancer. I just thank Him for giving me the chance to improve my life. It was like a wake-up call.
Right.
Yes, a wake-up call to improve my life, and to make my life more useful in a way to myself and to my son.
Sure.
Because I think I neglected myself, like having to work 7 days in one.
Yeah.
Once a month, 7 days. I always did that for 1 year, 4 years. And that's just what I wanted, because I wanted 2 days off in a row. And I did work 7 days, I think almost 5 years, once a month. And it was not very easy having to work that. But no regrets. I know the Lord has a plan for me, as what my family said. The Lord has a blessing for you and a plan for you, why He gave this cancer to you. So I put it as positively as I can, by considering it as a blessing and a gift, not as a weakness, really. So putting something negative into more positive.
Right.
Yes.
Because I remember somebody once saying, Grace, that
Yes.
not only is our belief in life after death, but it's also
Yes.
about life before death.
Yes.
And so that's sort of putting the whole context,
Yes.
I guess,
Yes.
of illness
Yes.
within life.
Yes.
And
Yes.
would you agree with that sort
Yes.
of?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It has a very scary experience for me. Like when the bad news came December last year, that my cancer had spread and the doctor cannot do anything. It was so painful, because I know my life would be short. But I said, Lord, if this is your will, I accept that. And I will prepare for my life to come into your kingdom, you know. So I did that slowly, by organizing like guardianship for my son, power of attorney for myself in the event that I may not be mentally capable of making decisions.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you cope with that? And how did, say, like Clark cope with?
Clark was very quiet, so I knew he wasn't coping very well. So it was recommended that he goes into art therapy, and I know it was hard for him, basically hard for him. And more so for me because I found a big change in my physical strength. And Clark would used to say, "You're very weak, Mom," but sometimes I just cried because that's just how my condition is. Many fears of being, not capable to do the things that you usually do. Like sometimes I fear that one day I won't be able to walk, one day I might be on a wheelchair, and one day I might have to live in a hospital and not in my home, which is a reality, with this kind of condition. But I just prepare for it and I just leave it up to the Lord. I don't think so much of it, because what's the point of being so very anxious and it's still, you're not sure if it will happen or not.
Sure.
So day by day I just thank the Lord for giving me a life pain-free, which is a blessing, because it's so hard being with pain. Like I'm on very strong medication now. I'm on morphine, which is twice a day, slow release drug, and I've got a very fast acting morphine as well, elixir, to help me with pain, which is acute pain, moderate to severe pain, and it works instantly. But the fear that you are not able to walk one day, it's just scary sometimes, but you just have to trust Him, and He will show the way. He will give you strength.
And so, like the Catholic family that you belong to, the prayer group and so on. Like, what are some of the significant moments for you as being part of, say, the prayer group here and the church family? Say,
one of the significant moments that I would mention as part of my prayer group would be the strength, the prayers that have given me strength, the love and compassion that the members of my prayer group has given me. And I believe the power of prayers can have a very significant input. Just to trust the Lord.